The 2026 Investing in African Mining Indaba here in Cape Town has again delivered on what the mining communities agree is the single most important message, not only for industries, but for Africa looking forward into the global economy. And that is that when it comes to critical minerals, Africa must speak with one voice. And South African companies, global companies, and other companies in Southern Africa and organizations are now starting to realize that having a combined strategy when it comes to critical minerals is one way of ensuring that local beneficiation and also economic activity resolves into local benefit for communities and people here in Africa. That sentiment is very much shared by a financial institution doing great entry into many markets into Africa and Southern Africa. Standard Bank CIB, whom we spoke to earlier, is particularly invested in looking at how companies and governments, but also organizations involved in mining from a safety, risk and strategic imperative can benefit from having expertise on the ground and ensuring that the view from the ground is the same as those that global companies get when it comes to creating value and profits from Africa.
Thank you very much for joining us. What is the importance of the DRC to the global critical minerals industry?
So the DRC is really in a unique situation today. We're talking about the energy transition today, and you can find all the resources, all the minerals that you need for this energy transition in the DRC, being lithium, coltan, and everything. So the DRC is really important. The DRC has more than 23 trillion untapped resources, the equivalent of 23 trillion US dollar of untapped resources in the country. So it's a country of opportunities. It's a country with so much potential. And you can find all the minerals that you want in the DRC. That's why the DRC is so important today. And the country is now pushing for that. So that the way the DRC was seen before is no longer the way it is seen today. There's a change of the narrative. And you can look at the investors in the mining sector that we have in the DRC today, and you can see how the DRC is attracting investors today.
A lot of talk is also around the bankability, the ease of doing business. And so as a financial institution, you yourself are playing an important role in the region. But what are considerations that organizations, countries, companies, and even people who want to do business in the DRC have to take into considerations when it comes to the bankability of business?
Yeah. The DRC used to be a challenging country. There's a lot of things that have been done over the past 10, 20 years. We have a new mining code, we have a forestry code. So a lot of the regulation things have been done now to attract more investors. But as a bank, the banks in the DRC, if you look at their balance sheet, they don't have the strong balance sheet to support a big mining investment in the DRC. And this is where Standard Bank is also unique in that regard, because Standard Bank can leverage on the balance sheet of the group. And Standard Bank can come and support a big mining investment in the DRC with the support of the group balance sheet. And these are the type of financing structuring that we've been doing for years in the DRC. And that's why in the DRC, Standard Bank is seen really as a real banking partner for mining operations.
One of the concerns that many companies or organizations have is cross-border integration and also financial integration. What's the situation in the DRC?
The challenge is more on a regulatory side and also on infrastructure. The DRC has a very strong foreign exchange regulation, while other countries, even our neighbor countries like Zambia, their foreign exchange regulation is, I would say, less stringent than the DRC one. So it's always difficult to find a way really to leverage on the synergies that we do see across the border between Zambia and ourselves. But we're working on that to see how we can still support our clients on both sides.
From deal making to innovation, the CSIR in South Africa is involved in strategic initiatives across the innovations and technology environment, including AI, to ensure that South African companies and the companies that they do deals with, not only in Southern Africa but the rest of the world, have the information at hand and the data when it comes to putting deals together. We spoke to the CSIR about what their important imperatives were at the Mining Indaba 2026.
We've been on a journey for about 5 years now. We've built a tailor-made technology and innovation strategy with industry and not for industry, because it's important that we partner with the industry to ensure that we support the business value drivers, which is safety. You mentioned safety. So we've built a data-driven tool, decision-making tool that really supports mining to mine safer. And this not only supports mine safer, it also supports productivity. So we use technologies such as AI, artificial intelligence, large language models to be able to support, to basically turn data into insights. What we've also done is, with regards to training, we have developed a competency-based training, which is a unique way to now train mining operators. And this uses virtual reality. I mean, you've seen kids with games love that. So we put a person in an immersive environment, ensuring that they understand and articulate the hazards of the environment, but not really being in a real emergent or a dangerous, hazardous environment. What we've further done is, as we digitize mining, it's important to also note that we need to do it safer. So, data security and cybersecurity. So we do have cybersecurity capabilities as the CSIR, and that's what we're bringing today to ensure that, mining is digitizing, but in a safer way. What we've also done is obviously looking at energy and circularity. So we have a portfolio that really supports the ensuring of how do we build new technologies that has energy and energy sustainability into account. So we're currently busy brewing a solution with some of the mining industry, looking at a dual fuel engine. I'm sure we'll release it and announce it in future. What I also want to mention is the technology is obviously driven or people-centered driven. What we're also looking at is how do we bring communities into it. So there is a program that is led by the Anglo-American, but basically the execution is happening at the CSIR, and really looking at how do we integrate municipal planning with the mining as it grows. So I think in totality, I can say that the CSIR we're bringing technologies to integrate the mining value chain. And I think lastly, what excites us is we're involved last year with the G20 presidency being hosted in South Africa. We had the opportunity to scribe the critical minerals framework that was adopted by the leaders at the last year's G20 summit.
And from innovation to new clean energies, one of the participants here at 2026 Mining Indaba has been Discovery Green, which not only put their practice on the ground in looking at how organizations can be cleaner and create more sustainable development in organizations, but they also had a service here at the Mining Indaba which helped to ferry executives and people attending and delegates from one place to the other in complete new clean green vehicles. And we had a look and discussed with Discovery Green what it is that they were hoping to achieve, not only through this, but looking into the future in clean energy in South Africa, one of the aspects sorely needed in mining in the country.
Andre, so Discovery Green decided on this project to basically show the market and the mining sector the importance of new energy, clean energy, and the challenges, and addressing the challenges, but also the opportunities in clean energy and moving in. What is it ultimately that you are hoping to communicate to the mining sector here at Mining Indaba 2026?
Thank you, Gary. It's amazing. The Mining Indaba is so filled with, usually it's very much a focus around mining. And I think the narrative has shifted a little bit given the importance of electricity. Electricity is one of the biggest drivers of cost for mines in South Africa. That has always been a key part of the conversation. And with the advent of renewables, coming in at a very economical part, it's clean, it's renewable. I think getting that message across and saying, listen, there are traders and players now in this market. They're here to help you, to develop solutions for you. I think putting out these cars that we have behind us, reminds these executives that there's an opportunity to start engaging with different players, because you don't only have one more option to where you get your electricity from. Now there's actually many places.
The value chain of renewable industries or energy is very, very big and very, very wide. Obviously, early days as a business sector going into it, but you're saying that the doors are open for business and that the conversion rate of organizations looking at clean energy is happening now, and not only in mining.
Absolutely. So I think since the start of last year, when the ERA Act got put in place, I think we've seen a massive shift. I mean, it's a great testament to South African businesses, taking the bull by the horns and embracing it. So there's been an enormous amount of development, enormous amount of new projects being developed. In South Africa, the latest survey has shown over 230 gigawatts worth of potential projects. It's way more than the country needs. But it's very, very exciting. And what we're seeing now, especially at Mining Indaba, is a big focus on electricity. It used to be, a story about building things on site, a few panels on your site. I think it's really evolved now to, how do you create an electricity industry where you're building plants, that are utility scale and leveraging the network together to companies. The narrative has really shifted. I think we're moving very quickly.
So while South Africa's energy grid has stabilized a lot in the last particularly 2 years, so those initial fears out, but certainly looking at the longer term, the conversion rate for organizations to ensure sustainable development is all about electricity, a sustainable electricity conversion in the organizations, and ultimately about healthier people in a workplace.
Absolutely. So I think, with the stabilization of the grid and the fact that load shedding is sort of disappeared for now, is very positive. It's great for the country. I think now it actually allows us to give time and focus to some of the other issues. Cost and sustainability. Cost is a big issue. We've seen multiples of CPI increases over the last sort of decade, and getting to grips with that is hugely important. And the nice thing is about renewables is it usually comes with inflation protection really on that, so it is a very helpful one. And the second challenge, which I think is very underrated, is we have the dirtiest electricity in the world here in South Africa. It's just the nature of our history, our reliance on coal. But also at the same time we have the best sun and wind you can find globally. So the opportunity is really there to decarbonize the economy, improve global competitiveness and take part in that side.
And ultimately in financing of sustainable development, are you seeing a real change in organizations wanting to do it?
Absolutely. I think from a financing point of view, there's enormous amount of appetite. I mean, the amount of banks and investment involvement is enormous. The amount of money actually needed, we're talking tens of billions of rands for these projects that need to come in. The appetite is there, the investment is there, the interest is there. I think whether or not it's locally, and there's lots of local support, or internationally, the funding is there. It is now solving some of the practical hurdles, grid access, securing a long-term offtake. All these are absolutely critical. We're getting there. I mean, we are in year 2 of the liberalisation, and I think South Africa has made a massive impact so far.
Because finally, ultimately, you decided to make electric vehicles available for
Okay, just hold on. I'm going to get out, and then as soon as I'm out, you will go. Excellent.
But there's something about human behavior, which obviously you're trying to communicate.
Absolutely. I think it's as much about the electric vehicles and what they symbolize as much as the craziness that comes with Mining Indaba. I mean, it is almost impossible to find parking, and even less possible to find a lift anywhere on that. So helping our businesses and people here gives us the opportunity to just expose them to say, listen, here is renewable energies here. It's a big part of the Mining Indaba. Discovery Green is here. We'd love to have a conversation with you. And here is a super quiet, super comfortable ride in a very, very hot Cape Town. So I think it's played out very nicely.
That's it from Mining Indaba 2026. Catch more on Business Day TV in the coming nights and also in the coming weeks when we unpack more participants here from the biggest mining conference exhibition center in the Southern Hemisphere, and certainly one of the key business initiatives in South Africa to attract mining interest in South Africa, but also to position South Africa as a great host of international events like this mining conference. I'm Gary Alfonso for Business Day TV.